Hello and welcome to today's video where I'm taking you through my personal writing process. I have my book here. I'm currently at 39,000 words. This is my second book I've written, I guess. I've obviously written bits and pieces of other things. I've completed a full manuscript that was trash, as it should be. It was my first full book. I'm trying to edit it, but we don't need to talk about her. Like, maybe she'll get edited, maybe she won't. Just kind of having the ability to fully finish a project was really nice, and I think that I kind of am starting to get a process that is working for me. I do just want to emphasize that my process is very like me, like it just works for me, and everybody has their own processes. I'm hoping that you just kind of see mine and take what you will, take what works for you, and run with it. I do think writing is kind of like an ever-evolving thing. Like, obviously my process will evolve as I write more, but this is what I have right now, and this is what I think is pushing me through to write as quickly as I am. I have three kind of steps to it. So first things first, step one is what I'm gonna call the little notebook step. That sounds really dumb, but pretty much I get a little notebook like this, and I just kind of start jotting down whatever idea I had and working on it. For this one that I'm currently working on, I was watching Lilo and Stitch and just bawling my eyes out. It was the first time I've ever seen Lilo and Stitch because I had never seen it as a kid, and I was crying at the ending because I just thought Lilo and Nani's relationship as sisters was so beautiful. And I kind of wanted to emulate that kind of feeling that I was feeling when watching Lilo and Stitch. And I kind of wanted to create a story that was like about sisters, that beauty, that pain that is siblings, especially in a relationship dynamic like that where Nani was the caretaker and Lilo just wanted a sister. I just kind of start off writing about that. I list some character names, ideas, and then this is kind of just like a brain dump. This is my little little notebook for this specific story, and I just like write any thoughts that come to me. Right here I kind of go through each character, how they act, things like that. Even here I have Venn diagrams of characters, like comparing and contrasting them with each other to see how they would like interact with each other, and just pretty much anything that's in my any ideas that are in my brain. I have scene ideas, theme ideas, and as you can see, there's still a lot of blank pages at the end that I'll probably fill up while I'm editing. I'll go through and I'll like make notes in my edits, being like, oh, this doesn't work, or this character is kind of not acting right. Once you have all your ideas down, you turn them into the outline. Step kind of 1.5, I love me a Pinterest board. This is my current Pinterest board for my current work in progress. It's kind of like a road trip vibe, and it's just very nice to go on Pinterest and kind of visualize the aesthetics that you want. Sometimes I'll also make a playlist on Spotify. Whatever is going to like get you inspired. I would say that's like step 1.5. Step 2 is to outline. Sometimes outlining feels like pulling teeth, but stay with me, stay with me. Enter the binder. Pretty much in this binder, I have little tabs for each one of my stories, and so this first one is the most active that I'm working on right now, and I start with the outline. I pretty much typed this all up using the Save the Cat beat sheet method, which I will link down below. Save the Cat kind of literally walks you through not only what needs to happen plot-wise, but also what needs to happen character development-wise. For instance, the catalyst in Act 1 is a turning point for the story because something happens that is, you know, setting off a chain of events. But also in that moment in the catalyst, your character is deciding to kind of make a change in their life and go a different direction that is kind of not expected of them. I really like this format just because I think it is simple and easy to understand, and especially easy to follow when you are trying to plot, especially if you're not great at plotting. I am so bad at plotting, but kind of keeping this outline of the Save the Cat beat sheet has kind of helped me gain a better idea of where I'm going. Even if I don't fully follow the outline that I originally write, I know the big points that I have to hit. And then after we got the outline down, I do what I call the chronology section of the binder. I don't know why the binder really inspires me. Like, you do not have to be this like outrageous. You can have all of this in a doc, but I just really like the binder, and I like having like physical pages to flip. I don't know. But pretty much chronology is where I'm looking at the outline and I am plotting out every single scene that I want to happen. I'm looking at the scene ideas, seeing where they could fit in the outline, and I am writing up a spreadsheet of how they work. For this specific story, it's not broken up by chapters, it's broken up by sections based on the days of the week. On this side, we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then here where it's highlighted is like what is happening in that scene, like the idea I have and what is happening. Next one over is the character arc moment, like how are the characters changing in this moment, if they are. Sometimes they aren't, sometimes they're just living life, being themselves, but if they are having a moment of change, any character, even side characters, I will jot it down here. And then over here I have beat, so which beat is it hitting? Obviously it's the first page, so this first scene is the opening image and starting the setup, and then this empty spot all the way to the side is just for any notes that I have while I'm writing. And then you can see this is highlighted, that means it has been written. And as I flip through my chronology, you can see I've written the majority of the book. This last section is all that needs to be done. This next one I don't really find a lot of use for when I'm writing specifically, but I do think it's really fun to just have. And that is character profiles. I will just kind of like I'll find a picture on Pinterest and be like, that is my main character. And then I'll just kind of like write all of their information down. And I will kind of just create who they are and make them into character profiles. Like, I forget what color their eyes are or something. I do have a record of it. And again, I think it's just fun kind of crafting these characters. It's kind of like giving when I'm making a sim. I don't know, it's like fun. And then this final page is all of the characters' problems, wants, and needs. What is their flaw? What is going on in their life that needs fixing? What do they want? What's their goal? And what do they need to learn by the end? These are kind of like fundamental to characters and character arcs. So it's just really important to like have an idea of what's going on, and I just like to keep that on a simple page. And then this last section of the binder, I have notes, which is specifically used for any ideas I have for the book, but also since this was originally my independent study last semester, I have notes from my professor, character names for any notes that I decide to jot down about the characters, and then as you can see, there's also just a piece of notebook paper here that I can just write ideas for. That is the binder step. My advice for the binder step is like, you don't have to do what I did. This is what I like to do to kind of get a broader idea of my plot, of my characters. But I just think having some sort of writing and organization other than just what you have on the one doc you're writing is very good to get an overarching idea of what is going on and what you're trying to do. You can organize it any way you want, but I think it's very important to kind of write the story outside of the story, like knowing what's going on because you have written about it, or even sample written scenes and stuff that are separate from the story, to like get in the character's voice, get in their head, or just to know what you're going to be doing. Because if you just sit down and you just write out without having any kind of additional notes on the side, I just feel like you're going to struggle and you're going to hit that writer's block sooner. Because when you plan out, whether like this or a different way, even if you just you skip outlining altogether and you just go with your thought dump that you wrote down, I think that helps you fight writer's block because you have your ideas right here. You just have to work with them. Finally, step number 3, write the dang book. Like I said, with this draft, I'm currently on 39,000 words, which is like halfway through. My other book that I finished was, I think, 75,000 words. Again, I think that having some kind of outline, specifically Save the Cat, but any outline will do, really helps push you, and you kind of make your draft 0 into a draft 1 with editing. You can then change that sentence into like, how did you walk over? Why did you walk over? Maybe we describe the hug a little bit. Maybe we describe why we think that he's mad. But you can kind of write really badly because editing is where it gets done. Nobody writes a great book draft one, and if they do, no they didn't. So that's all I have for you today. This is just my personal writing process that has been working for me. I think it's also important not to box yourself in. Like, obviously this one that I am kind of sharing with you is my main book right now, but I do have those other four and the book I've already finished that I'm editing that I kind of like go between. Like, if I'm feeling inspired for one of those other stories, I will sit down with the outline, or I'll sit down with like a scene I want to write. Obviously I'm trying to be more focused and diligent to this one, but I think something that else that's really important is to not box yourself in. If I have another idea, I'm going to work on it. And that's why I'm kind of, I don't want to say juggling multiple stories, but I have multiple stories in my head, and when I'm inspired to write one, I'll write it even though it's not the one that I should be writing. I hope this was helpful. Let me know down below what some of your own personal writing tips are. I feel like writing is such a personal thing that we all have different systems for it, and I really just want to know, like, what do you do? Like, what are tips and tricks that kind of help you get through a draft? And until next time, see ya.